230.
Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. It's week 230. I'm Aaron Mack, and I'm here with my good friend Kevin, aka CBC Basic Complexity. I, I was going to add a couple more, aka CBC, I think BKA, all of that, but there's a whole entire list. Anyway, but BBC better be called. Anyway. And now I will take it away with our number share program. And first, we get two presses, one and two. The question is, what quality for you is an automatic no way when pursuing someone in a relationship? I like communication. I'm a Gemini, and my degree is in communication. And an automatic no, I don't even think that would be an automatic no. I think an automatic no would be somebody who insincere. If I detect that you are insincere and or not really into me, I'm, if I detect that you want, and this is so tough because, okay, I'm 40, right? I'm 40. And it's like my old way of writing dudes off so quickly and be like, and we're going to get into a topic B, but but it's like I want to turn over a new leaf. I don't want to be that same old guy who will instantly write a dude off. But if you're not sincere, there would be no hope. But I know sometimes that comes down to what do I interpret as insincere. Anyway, I can go on for a long time. Basic Complexity, your new song, my friend, or since you already told me before the show, your new-ish song.
Yeah, new-ish is about right. Definitely not brand new, and technically, song come out in 2013. So yeah, it's new-ish, somewhat. But my new-ish song is actually the song titled Body Party by Sierra. And I just like when I first heard the song, something immediately snapped in my head because it was uh well the beat was like pretty much I guess you could say a sample of the song from the 90s, and I forget the exact year, but it was from the 90s, the song My Boo by Ghost Town DJs. And I know it's Ghost Town DJs featuring someone, but I forget her name. But yeah, it was just the jam back in the day.
My old song is none other than it debuted October 14th, 1985. I did 85 last week too. Okay. But 1985 and Wilson. Anyway, but the Jets Crush on You.
Mm.
And I have been playing that song a lot this week. And I particularly, I think there are a number of versions out there, but the one version that I work to hear particularly is when they were on American Bandstand singing. And no, I love them. I do. And actually, I love a few songs by the Jets. But American Bandstand is just like Soul Train. You know, people
All right.
sing on it, and that's not the fault of the artist or even the fault of anybody. That's just because that's how the show is more about the dancing, less about the artist's ability to sing the notes and potentially have imperfections at times. Potentially. It's more about, hey, we want these kids to keep dancing and be able to keep on dancing and just dance like like they hear on the record. Anyway, but and stuff like that probably is what brought us down to where we are today. Anyway, let me stop. Yeah, and what I like is the it seems like it's two of them singing, and I like that one of the women uses her very high voice.
Mm.
And I feel badly loving that because it's like I'm a baritone bass singer, and I know that us lower voice people, like even female altos and stuff, we have to work like extra hard to get an audience to understand the value of our vocals, you know? And like and this will be my last thing. Actually, I'll save it for if we have time at the end of the show. Basic Complexity. Are you ready to get this show on the road, my friend?
Okay.
Hashtag simple complication at Nate Owen Music. Hashtag Verse TV 238.
When I was in the closet, dating my girlfriend felt way less confusing. Small town norms are laid out for you. The guy pays for the dinner, holds the door, picks her up for prom with flowers and a strong handshake for dad. Everything is figured out. When I started dating guys, these low-key conservative gender roles didn't translate. Who buys flowers? Is splitting the bill weird? Why does PDA feel low-key shameful? These answers aren't on display the way they were when I was watching Disney movies, and grappling with these questions is such an isolating experience because I legit don't know who to talk to about this. Why is life way more complicated out of the closet?
All right. And for that, my initial reaction is hetero society does have many traditions. That's true. As far as like who pays for what and blah, blah, blah. So it can seem like things are more simple and just simply laid out for you of what to do. And that's because in a lot of ways it is. And that's part of what I appreciate about being a same gender loving man, because those things aren't quite laid out for us yet. One day they might be though, you know? Especially with us going down that heteronormative path that we love so much. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not shading anyone or anything when I say that. I am one of those people who can appreciate a good kind of heteronormative connection. I'm sorry, I'm bad. I know. Wait, let me. Anyway, but yeah, this also reminded me of when I went on I went on a date with this girl in high school, um, friend of the family girl, and my mom gave me extra money so I can pay for her. I didn't realize that's what the extra money was for, though. So no, we went out to eat, and I was like, "This has been really nice hanging with you." Yes, all right now. And the bill came, and I was like, "Yeah, we'll get two separate checks." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, thanks." And then I went home, and like a good boy, I brought my mom the change, and she was like, "No, Aaron, I didn't give you. I gave you that money so you can pay for both of your meals." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." And I think that was part of my mom's sign that it's okay. He's not gonna really date a lot of women anyway. But yeah, anyway, but like my mom said, mothers always know. Mothers always know. So, and as an adult, oh yes, as an adult, period, I am team first date Dutch treat. First date public place, first date Dutch treat. That's me. You can call me a cheap hoe if you want, whatever. First date Dutch treat. And that's a piece of heteronormative in me because I'm like, we're both men. Basic complexity, I'll finish my 1 minute.
All right. When I was in my late teens and becoming more comfortable with myself, I will admit that it would have been easier to stay in the closet, but I couldn't live that life. So yeah, I made it to about 17, and then I was like, I can't do this. So I know the expectation was to, I guess, have a girlfriend, get married, have kids, whatever. It didn't quite work out like that. Um, so yeah, the heteronormative thing is just not me because I couldn't live my life lying to myself and pretty much everybody else. Was just like, I look like I was straight, which clearly I'm not. So that's what it was.
I
That's
don't, oh, huh?
no, I was saying that's what
I don't know how clear it is though, because clearly, you broke a few girls' hearts, Kevin. You did, and but yes,
I went
you
in there.
mentioned the fact that you made it to 17. I made it to 21, and that's because I was really fighting myself on it a lot. And
Oh,
my mom was
okay.
always like, "Mothers always know, Aaron.
And
Mothers
like,
know." And I'd be like, "I don't know what you're saying, you know." But I made it to 21, and yes. And as far as the guy in his video, yes, it's a journey, and navigating through this life as same gender loving, especially now when universal equality is in growth mode and not yet equal. It takes some time, but I think we're headed in the right direction. And yeah, I said enough because again, as far as the dates, I was saying we can both pay for ourselves because we're both men. So that's the heteronormative in me. Instead of being, ooh. Can I take an extra second to say this, Kevin?
Go for it.
This dude that I was set up to go on a blind date with, and we didn't. We ended up not because we exchanged photos before the blind date, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not into that bitch," and but whatever. He said he was going to treat me to dinner. And the reason he was going to treat me to dinner, would you like to guess his reason? And this is before we met. This is before we met. You said you don't know?
Right.
He was going to treat me to dinner because before he even knew this about me, I don't know what it is, I guess. I don't know. But he was like, the way I see it, as a top, it's my... And I love the heteronormative aspect of this, and this was rough. But he was like, as a top, I see it as my responsibility to put some food in my belly before I put my dick in your belly. And at that time, I was in my early 20s, reaching mid 20s. So those are still my prude days. So I wasn't giving it up to anybody. But I guess my friend who was setting up the blind date was like, yeah, Aaron's a bottom. That's another story. Anyway, Kevin, you're one squared.
I am sorry. That's just hilarious. Alright, just basically being honest with yourself, like moving that heavy weight from your chest. Like, just come out. And yeah, that's it.
And the hashtag Verse TV family yes or no question. Did you ever make a memorable social mistake or faux pas on a date? Yes or no? Basic complexity, are you ready for topic B?
Yes.
And FYI, people, this is called Hey Shore T. And for those who don't get it, it's sort of a pun on a song by, and not really, but LaToya Luckett had a song called Hey Fella. And I was like, yeah, you know, hey fella. But I was thinking like she said, hey shorty, and then I was like, yeah, we could spell it TEA. But then it's like, no, the song is Hey Fella. LaToya Luckett and her serious boyfriend for a while, Slim Thug, now today known as Slim Playa, I think, or Big Slim. I think he goes by Big Slim. But yeah, him. Anyway, love the song. And here we go.
Hashtag HeyShoreT230. Facebook, Bumble.com, hashtag VerseTV230B.
So I'm in a relationship now, and it's going well, except my boyfriend wants me to try all this new stuff I'm not comfortable doing. I was like, look, I don't care how much I love you. I am not deleting Bumble. I don't want to delete Bumble. It's fun to look. It's like online shopping. Just because I put something in my cart doesn't mean I want the package to come early.
Good or bad, this is exactly the mindset that keeps the revolving door of love spinning. IJS. Choose wisely, my friends. Basic complexity.
Yes, and Zach, I think you should keep your options open, even if you're not using them. Just have something in the back of your mind.
Hashtag iPhone, Android. At Nasim Speech, hashtag VerseTV230C.
He's a 10,
Okay.
but he has an Android phone. What's his new rating?
Two. Because, like, are you broke? Like, how can you not afford an Apple? I'm sorry.
If you own an iPhone, more than likely you've been brainwashed. Now, according to the Oxford Dictionary, to brainwash someone is to make someone adopt different beliefs by using systematic and often forcible pressure. And I have a serious question for you. Did you buy the iPhone because you actually like the phone? Or did you buy it because a group of people pressure you to in order to be accepted? Did you buy it because your friends said they hate green bubbles? Did you buy it because the girl you liked said you were broke if you didn't have one? Did you buy it so you can get the best photos for social media to please people? Or did you buy it because everyone else has one and you simply just wanted to fit in? So here's the real question. Do you really like the iPhone, or did a bunch of people make you like it?
This entire thing is just, and it's always been funny to me. Now, granted, yes, I do have an iPhone, but it was not for any of those reasons. Um, it was something I wanted to try, just to see how it was, and the fact that at that time, the last Android phone I had was the absolute worst, and yes, Aaron could definitely attest to this because it was like when we first met. That was a long time ago. But like definitely not trying to down Android phones in general because some of them, and I've had quite a few over the years, some of them are good. But at that point, the one I had was and still is the absolute worst phone I ever had. Um, so yeah, that's why I switched to iPhone. Now, not saying I'm never going back to Android because, to be told, I probably will. But Android phones, despite what people say, Android phones are not cheap. Like, we all know how expensive iPhones could be, but Android phones are really like right at that price level. And yeah, it's oh, phones in general. This is not like in the past. Phones are expensive. It's like you gotta give an arm and a leg to get a cell phone now. But yeah, like I'm kind of iffy on if I wanted to call this out. Actually, you know what? I don't care. It was definitely years ago. And the phone ad was a Echo. I don't even remember by who. But that was the worst phone ever, ever. And that's what pushed me to iPhones. And yeah, that's just why I am now. Not saying I'm not gonna try Android phone again because I probably will. And I've had some very good Android phones in the past, but that one that at the time sealed the deal that I was stepping away from Androids. And that's what I've
You know, you made me think of someone that we hadn't given a shout out yet, but I feel the need to end my answer shout out Windows mobile phones and Blackberries. Now, the Windows mobile phone was kind of a sadly a bit of a joke, even though they really tried, but and I think it's still a thing. I think it's got a real committed sect of people who are like committed to Windows phones just because. But the BlackBerry, I used to love my BlackBerry Curve. I had a couple of Blackberries actually. I loved that thing. Anyway, so the as far as him being like you're brainwashed if you get it, it's like that's the purpose of effective advertising. It's to brainwash all of us, period. Everything we see on TV, all the ads that we see, all the paper ads, visual ads, whatever, it's all to brainwash us into spending money that we have and or don't have. Borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And as far as the iPhone, at this point, truly it's a status symbol. It is that, and there are people who get it for that purpose. And Apple is going to push the bar of cost as far as they can push it. Just as long as they can push it, as far as they can push it. And in my honest opinion, we deserve it because we buy it. We buy it. And we are all brainwashed. But Android is not like the good knight in shining armor because as you've mentioned, you know, it's not like Androids are cheap. No, Android is right there as the less expensive alternative to Apple, but it's not cheap. You know, you saw up there, like on the Apple phones, he was like on the iPhones, $1,200, $1,800, and then for the Android, it's like $900. It's like, but $900 is still a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a phone. Period. And yeah, especially in this economy, and it is insane. And again, I say that we deserve it. You know, I guess I'll put it in my 1 minute. Basic complexity.
All right. Get my, I guess, 1 minute. Just as I stated before, Android phones are definitely not cheap at all. They might be cheaper, but not by much. So, like, eventually, and even though I've definitely intentionally strayed away from Android phones, I may intentionally go back probably more sooner than later. And that's what I've.
So, as for me, I feel the need to state explicitly that I am both Team Android and Team iPhone.
Mm.
and my daily driver phone is Android. I'm recording this on my Android, on my Google Pixel 6a, and I love it. And I have to admit, Android has come a long way as far as its phones
Yes.
being good.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, I will say my the second phone that I have for this to manage the videos and stuff is my iPhone XR, and the XR is ironically their attempt. The R series of phones, I don't know if they only had that during the X, but the R series of phones was the less expensive alternative. But that's a great phone as well. And I'll also say the different phones do different things better than others.
Yeah.
I feel that when it comes to the creative art stuff, iPhone wins hands down. But as far as my daily driver stuff, like being able to copy things and move the cursor different places with ease, Android is that one. So I'm team both. Yes, I'm one of those guys. Anyway, my one sentence is Android is the relatively less expensive alternative to iPhone, and both are ridiculously expensive. I personally have unique uses for both of those devices. Basic complexity, no. So the hashtag VersTV family, yes or no question. Do you think iPhone will reach its cost ceiling at $10,000 to this $500 device? Huh.
Hmm.
Do you think it'll reach $10,000? It's and this isn't the one question, but to what the woman said in the very beginning of, you can't afford an iPhone? What are you, poor? It's like, and I don't know if she was a plant or what, but at the end of the day, they make it so you can finance these phones. So everyone can afford them. And it's ridiculous. It's just like financing a pair of Jordans. It's anyway. Basic complexity. Are you ready for topic D, which you will be first again?
Yes.
All
Hashtag mean gaze at Aaron GoldieBoy. Hashtag VersTV230D. Text POV. The mean gaze invite you over for some fun.
Hey, come in.
Thanks.
Do you want some water?
No, I'm okay.
You look dehydrated.
Water's like really good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So when did you take those photos?
On my profile? Last week?
Wow, a lot has happened in a week.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, it was so nice meeting you.
So nice.
Yeah. Text us when you...
You don't have to text us. Bye.
Anyway.
I just need a moment. That was hilarious. But Like when I first saw it, I initially thought they were just rude. But then when I really give it some thought, I was like, no, they probably weren't, well, maybe a little rude, but it was probably because he didn't look anything like the picture he posted. And you all know that happens very often. Yeah. So yeah, he just didn't look, or probably didn't look anything like the picture posted, which actually makes sense when you think about the questions asked. When how old is that picture when did you take it? And saying a week ago, that's probably not true. And that's what I have.
Okay. You and I are truly not an echo chamber of opinions because they were just so mean. And you blame me as pics. Like, yeah, that's an appropriate way to react to somebody if they're lying about their pics. But that also reminds me of, and I'm just using your last few seconds, that reminds me of the dude that and I've told this story before, so I'm not gonna tell it all again. But that time that I took those mall photos that looked really good and used those photos as my profile photo. And when I met the dude, he was like, "You look nothing like that." And I was like, "What? But it's me. It's me." So it's like to blame somebody because of the subjective thing as far as looking like their photo. It's like if he was true catfish, I get that because people just totally lie with stuff like that. Lonely people, and we're gonna get into that on Monday's show. Oh, whoops, on another show. But lonely people, and I get that, you know. But you get what you deserve with that. But he's not necessarily, I don't think, I have no idea. Maybe he was deliberately lying about his pics. And I did think about that. I did think about that after. And I was like, okay. Now, as for my main answer, as for Aaron, my fellow name sharer, Aaron, and his, I hope, husband, I am hooked on their Mean Gays series. I love it. They do like a whole, they have a lot of stuff that's actually really hilarious. Anyway, my connection, another connection. Yes, eye contact is important when you first meet, like seeing how they react to seeing you, because watching this and how they reacted to him as he was walking in, that immediately brought me back to when I met the dude who gave me gonorrhea. I'll say the beautiful dude who gave me gonorrhea. It's always the beautiful ones. And that was before I was using any walking aid devices, but my walking could still be a little troubled. And I could see as I walked up to his house, I know he told me that he wanted a long-term relationship, but I know, I can be a fool. But as I walked into his house, first date public place, don't do as I do as I say. But as I walked through the door, like he gave me a look, like he did that thing that he was like that, you know, where as I was walking in, I could tell that he was not into my look, but he quickly tried to change it around. You know, he's like that. And it's always good to keep eye contact and acknowledge such things. And it took me a while to learn to do that. And I would be on the first date totally unaware. And the part where he was like, "You want some water?" And he's like, "No, I'm good, thank you." He's like, "You look dehydrated." That's the kind of shade that your 1 minute, I'll finish in my one square.
All right, mine is just be 100% truthful about how you look without the last minute surprises. That's it.
When I met the a-hole in Falls Church, that was 100% my photo. I was not trying to lie. I just looked good in that photo, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, as far as the guy who was like, "Wow, a lot has changed in a week." You know, and I felt for the other guy so much, because it's like, yes, you know, we're just trying. We're trying to be our best. We can't help it anyway. But as far as the water, and you look dehydrated. There are a number of relationships, or not relationships, but there are a number of dates that I've gone on that I just didn't. Oh, I didn't make it the one square. Sorry. Anyway, but I just didn't make it. I didn't realize that, you know, they're just not that into me. Like the K Michelle song. I love K Michelle, by the way. I do. I'm a fan of hers as well. Anyway, but they just are not that into me, you know? And as far as the water and you look dehydrated, I would not have realized that was a put down. And the, yeah, because the other guy was like, "Yeah, water's really good for you." I probably would have received it as, "Oh, they're not trying to put me down. They just care about my well-being," you know? And then it wouldn't be until after they closed the door with me on the other side that I would have been like, "Oh, wait a minute, they didn't like me." That's a thing. Anyway. Realize that. Yeah, I would have realized that at the door. Anyway, my one sentence is, just like dating app chat. Just like dating app. Just like dating app chat. If they didn't like your face pic, it mostly doesn't matter what you say in the chat, IJS, because it's a destinationless conversation. Because if they didn't like your photo, it doesn't matter how clever you are in the chat and how intelligent you present yourself and how down to earth and everything. If they didn't like your photo, no. But I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday actually about that, and he's like, "Nah, that's not always the case." Do you agree with me on that? If somebody doesn't like your photo, everything from that point is pretty much pointless.
I agree.
You do agree?
Yeah, because in this, well, in this lifestyle, I guess you could say, it's unfortunately, it's mainly about looks. Like, all right, I'm not gonna lie and say that is not the case with me. Um, I will say it's not the number one most important thing on my list. It plays a role, but it's not all the way up there.
Yeah. You've been one of the mean gays before. You would be a mean gay. You would. And you're like, it's not always number one. It's not always number one, but it always makes the list. It always makes the list. Is it always number one? No. Other things matter more. But it always makes a list. And yes. Okay. I get it, Kevin. I
Way
get it.
up there.
Huh?
It might not be number one, but typically it's still up there.
It's still, well, yeah, it's up there at the tops. So that's even more, it's not just saying that it's somewhere on the list. You're saying it's close to the top. Yeah, it's, let me think. How would I feel? How have I reacted in times past? Because like I said, now I'm trying to hold on to your love. I don't want to just throw dudes away like I used to. And it's like, but how would I react if somebody didn't look like their photo? I don't know. Because it's like, there's a difference between not looking exactly like your photo and looking like a totally different person.
Right.
Right. And that's a thing. But maybe the dude in Falls Church was like, you look like a totally different person. So I don't know. And I'm glad that when he offered the opportunity for me to go upstairs and suck his dick, that I didn't, because that probably would have been a very difficult thing. Let me speak to this. I know I say first date public place a lot, and I do stand by that. I also acknowledge that in my thought days, sexual exploration days, and that's part of the reason that I speak so strongly about it, because I would be first date in your bedroom. It doesn't matter. And those were like dangerous, like, thank God Almighty, hallelujah. Nothing happened. It's just, I realized I put myself in some very precarious situations, because I wouldn't tell anyone where I was going. When you'd go on dates, would you tell people where you were going? Well, in the early days. No, but you had a boyfriend from jump. You were one of those guys. Anyway.
All right. First off, well, he did help me to start to accept myself. I was little late with that. Actually, I didn't even start to come out till after I graduated high school. Now, did I know before then? Yes.
Of course.
Did I admit it? No. So, yes, granted, yes, I did have a boyfriend from early on, but still, like,
Can I pause you right there and say,
Right.
people, FYI, that's one of the benefits of being honest with yourself and being honest about yourself and coming out, because people can identify you as a potential for them. So Kevin, our example, in this example, him being honest with himself and coming out helped him have a boyfriend early on while I was still running back and forth. Well, I did accept myself after high school, but I did not come out until I came out to my mind at 21. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, going back to what you said about coming out, in all honesty, for me, it was a very, very long process. I didn't have any grandiose event where I just came out to the world. No, didn't work like that. I definitely did, as far as coming out, I did the easiest thing first. I told friends, and it was just like, all right, you don't like it, peace out. And did the hardest thing close to last my parents. And like you said, mothers always know.
And I wanted to ask you this. So your mom, of course, she knew.
Yes.
How did your dad receive it?
I think, well, actually, not think. I know he knew also. From, it was like, it wasn't even an argument, just it was a discussion years earlier where he was like, I don't even know anything about you. He was like, you got a girlfriend? And I was like, no, which was true. He was like, you got a boyfriend?
Oh.
And then I
You lied.
Yes, I had a kind of evil look on my face.
A kind of what look?
Evil look, like, you serious? No, in all honesty, back then, at that point in time, yes, I did have a boyfriend. Was I gonna
Really?
admit it? No.
So this conversation was like when you were 18. Because your first boyfriend was when you were 18.
I was nearly
No,
18. I was
that's right.
17, just about a month shy of 18.
My first boyfriend was when I was 21. He was 28. And I did get to bring him home to meet my mommy before she passed away. And my mom was like, oh, okay. Hey, my mom was so cool. Anyway, but Huh? Huh?
Say, you know, your mom did not care.
My mom was very cool. My mom, like, a lot of her best, and I know that this sounds so like, most of my best friends are black, but a lot of her best friends were gay, you know, and mom was very open about that, you know.
Yeah. Like, wow, and it's crazy to say this, but I'll say, well, at this point, I can say, my late aunt, um, she had several gay friends, and I definitely came out to her, but like 2 or 3 years before she passed, and she was like, she didn't care.
That's good. It's beautiful.
She was like, so. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay.
That, yeah. Nice. Yeah. People don't always know, though.
Sure.
You know, like you might think that they know, but they don't. That doesn't mean that they're knowing. They will be like, oh, now that I know this thing, I hate you. Sometimes people just don't know, though.
Right.
Anyway, the hashtag VerseTV family yes or no question is, did you ever realize a date was over at the door, yet you still went forward with high hopes and effort to improve it? Now that's a hashtag VerseTV yes or no family question. But I do want to know your answer to that. Have you ever had that scenario, Kevin? Probably not. Probably not. People are probably always in love to be like with, oh, I'm with Kevin.
To be told, no, it is not happening.
Right. Anyway, that's right. Okay. Did you have anything else, or are we ready for topic E? And then we'll close out.
Go for it.
Hashtag Cerebral TV at Richie for you at Ileana.Justine at Because It Was On. Hashtag VerseTV 230E.
I don't want to have a baby or a family. I want a career. That's what I want. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, but Michelle, you don't have to choose. You can have it all. Women can have it all. Yeah, stop saying that. You act like all is good. All does not mean good. You've never left an all-you-can-eat buffet and thought, I feel really good about myself. I sure am glad I went back for spare ribs. All is not good. And even if we do try to have it all, even if a woman out there definitely wants it all, we've put up too many obstacles in your way to make it possible. It's like, oh, congratulations, you're having a baby? Great, couple things. We're gonna need you to get that car accident of a body back to work as soon as possible because this is America and we don't think you need time to recover. Also, you should breastfeed. It's what's best for the baby. But don't do it in public, you pig. Do it in the old janitor's closet underneath the bridge with the rest of the breastfeeding trolls. And don't have to take time off from work when your kids are sick. We'll think you're not dedicated. Also, why are you such a bad mom? By the way, your salary is just enough to cover the cost of childcare. And we know you're exhausted. You don't really know who you are anymore. You're trying to balance your old life and your new life. But quick, go have sex with your husband. He's about to leave. He doesn't understand what you're going through. Quick, go now. And sweetie, smile.
Texas considers itself a nationwide leader in the protection of the unborn. When they banned abortions, they did so claiming that embryos and fetuses have rights. Well, a recent lawsuit brought against the state of Texas by a prison guard proves that Republican leaders in the state of Texas know those claims are bullshit. A prison guard who was 7 months pregnant started having contraction-like pains while she was at work. She told her supervisors, who didn't let her leave for hours. When she finally got to the hospital, she delivered a stillborn baby. Doctors told her that if she had gotten to the hospital earlier, the baby would have survived. Now, she's suing the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and prison officers for money to cover medical costs and funeral expenses, as well as compensation for her pain and suffering. The prison agency and the Texas AG's office are claiming they shouldn't be held responsible for the stillbirth. They also said, and this is the part I want to focus on, that the fetus didn't have rights as a person. That's right, the state that has insisted that personhood begins at fertilization is saying that her fetus was not a person. For decades, the Texas Attorney General's office has referred to all stages of pregnancy as an unborn child. Yet in this lawsuit, they repeatedly referred to the stillborn baby as a fetus. Republican lawmakers preach that they're protecting unborn children, but when it actually comes down to it, they don't give a shit. They'll claim over and over again that embryos and fetuses deserve rights, but when it's their asses on the line, they are the first to flip. They love to claim some moral high ground, but there is no morality in this kind of hypocrisy. These are the people who say they're anti-abortion until their mistress needs one, who say all they care about is protecting children until a gunman enters their school, who claim personhood begins at fertilization until they're the ones responsible for a baby's death. This is the GOP.
Text the romantic living single line that forever destroyed me.
There's one point when they're talking about like how they all came to get together, and there's a moment where they're talking about how Sinclair almost never moved to Brooklyn, and then Overton said,
"My heart would have been in Minneapolis and I wouldn't have known why."
No man has ever said anything even 10% that romantic to me in my entire life, and I'm wrecked. I'm wrecked forever because Overton said this to Sinclair.
It is Shakespearean. The show is so weirdly Shakespearean sometimes.
FYI, the post was from @Richie4U, but the comedian is Michelle Wolf. Anyway, #VerseTV family. This has been week 230, and I'm Aaron Mack. You can find me Aaron Mack at versetv.com. Email me. We can communicate. And that's AARONMCK at BERSTEAB.com. And you can find #VerseTV all over social media. Just search #BERSTEAB on whatever platform you're on, whatever you want to take a look at. Chances are we're there. And you can always just do the old-fashioned Google or Alta Vista, and we'll come right up for you. Actually, I don't think Alta Vista is a thing anymore. No, Alta Vista is still a thing. Ask Jeeves, it's not a thing. But yes, whatever your search engine of choice, or if you want to even Bing, like Alex. It's my understanding that's the difference between Alex and Google Assistant. Alex uses Bing. Google Assistant uses Google. Anyway, Basic Complexity, where can we find you, my friend?
Okay, and yes, in past weeks I definitely had to reevaluate how I would name this. So we'll start. I'm definitely on Instagram, and the name is Basic Complexity, and it's 2 words: basic and complexity. Put them together, no space. All right, so that's that's capital BASIC, capital COMPLEXITY. And like I said, that's Instagram. Then on TikTok, because I don't know how, but the name was already taken, Basic Complexity. So I had to go back and make a minor change to it, and it's My Basic Complexity. So take the word basic complexity, and then you put capital M, lowercase y in front of that. Once again, no spaces. And that's TikTok. Then the email is basiccomplexity@verstv.com. And that's VERSTEAV.com. That's what I have.
All right, this has been week 230 on hashtag BERSTEAV. And you can also, it's been a minute since I've said this. We have a website, well, clearly by the email, I guess you might know, but it doesn't mean always. But yes, the website is www.verstv.com. Check us out there as well. All right, hashtag VerseTV family.
One quick thing just to add on to that. If I'm not mistaken, we have some of our old episodes there also, right?
So the hashtag VerseTV website is really kind of mirroring what's on YouTube, but on YouTube, and this is why at first this is a long story, but at first I was putting all of the episodes on the website via YouTube, but the more stuff that I put on the website, the slower the website loads. So that's why I'm like, oh, let me not keep that much on the website, but everything, and I do mean everything, is on YouTube. So you can go back in the chronicles, hashtag VerseTV Chronicles, as far as you want. Anyway, is that it?
I believe so.
All right, hashtag VerseTV family, peace. Hashtag versetv.com. Stay blessed. All right, good night.